Welcome to the Miracle You, guiding you on the journey towards finding passion and purpose and how to discover, create, and live a life by your design. Whether your success has been plentiful or your missed opportunities have been overwhelming, we can help you become a more empowered, masterful person and show you how to share your gift with the world. It's time to inspire change from within with the host of the Miracle You, Vince Kramer.
Hello, imagination. I'm Vince Kramer, your host, and welcome to the Miracle You, where you learn about the magic of living your life by finding the example in real life. One of the most important things that we share through the Imagine Miracles company and the Imagination Miracles membership site is the importance of understanding that we have to live our life our way. We've spent so much of our lives up to this point, at least most of us, living life in a way that we developed a belief system based on what was shared with us by the people who cared about us, the people who wanted us to have a safe and comfortable life, our parents, our grandparents, our teachers. We've also been living life in a way that's kind of been directed by our society, the marketing that's available to us, that's telling us what success looks like, what love looks like. And through all of that, we're experiencing life really from a place that it's other people's perceptions or other people's beliefs that are driving what our life looks like. And it's really important to find yourself. And through our Discovering Your Miracle Life program, we truly help people find that they have unique gifts and talents, that there's certain things that bring joy to their life. There's things that bring passion to their life. And that's where you need to live. That's what you need to experience, the life that you're meant to live. And through wake-up calls, we get to a place where we finally understand that there truly is more to life. But it's not something that we're going to find on the outside of us. It's really something that we need to find on the inside of us and then live from that place. Today's guest is going to share how important it is to live life by your terms and on your terms, and how a wake-up call finally got his attention and really propelled him down his path to help you find what your terms are. So it's important for you to understand, and we want to share with you today the significance of finding your unique journey, your unique path, and how you bring you to the world and really develop a belief system and begin to work with your personality in a way that helps you find that and live that, because you deserve that. I'm with Jakob Palmqvist this morning, and Jakob is bringing something that is so passionate from me. It's something that I believe in, and I just told Jakob just a while ago when we first started our conversation that it's like looking in a mirror and really looking at myself again in another way. So I can't wait to share Jakob with you today. What does it mean to live life on your terms? A dramatic wake-up call meant the ignition of a different path for Jakob, and a path away from finance and the rat race of the world, leaving his old self and life of conformity behind. Now he wants to serve others so that they too can start living their life on their terms. So he's going to explain to us today how this path is available to each and every one of you on the imagination. And I can't wait to dive into it, and I can't wait to find out the story and share it with you. So Jakob, are you ready to share the miracle of you with the imagination?
Absolutely, yes. Ready to go.
Excellent. We can't wait to hear more about it. But before we get into that, it's not much of a bio that I shared. You stepped away from finance and the rat race. Could you give us a little bit more information on what you stepped into and who you are today?
Yeah, so very quick, as you said, I left sort of the rat race about a year and a half ago within finance and my little box of conformity to live a very, very different life. And taking that step was a big thing back then. But looking back, it was probably one of the best things I've ever did. And it really meant listening to what I really, really want to do and how I want to live my life. And it's really quite simple. It is a life on my terms and serving others and enabling them to do the same thing. So what that means really is that anyone in the imagination who wants to live slightly differently than they're currently living, I'm hoping that I can, in any shape or form, serve them to do so via the work I do, mainly then on my platform. There is a blog with a lot of content, and we do workshops and seminars and so forth. But the easy way is the website. And that's really how I spend my time. And the cool thing that I really want to highlight is that life on your terms is based on your definition, not someone else's. So if you want to work with children, if you want to work at the gas station, if you want to own your own company, if you want to be on a beach all day, I don't care. The most important thing is what it means to you so that you can be true to yourself and listen to that inner voice, creating a path and starting your journey. And that is my mission, and that is what I'm trying to do, and that is how I spend my time.
Awesome. I don't know if you know, but we actually have a session called Your Life, Your Way. It's a breakthrough session.
Perfect.
We give. So very much on track. And the interesting thing is I was sharing that I was going to be talking with you today with some friends, and they said, why in the world would you want to have somebody who is doing something very similar to you on your podcast? Isn't that, stepping on your own toes? And what I gave them was, each of us have these special gifts and talents that we bring to the world. And some people are looking for my gifts and talents, but there's people out there looking for your gifts and talents. Could you give us an idea of how you do some of your work? Just an example of what you do to help people get on that path.
It completely depends on if it's done individually, coaching sessions, or if we're doing it online or in a group or in a seminar event. The key thing is obviously spending time understanding and listening, meaning to ourselves, because I can't really help someone live a different kind of life unless they're willing to do so. You can listen to people, you might be able, at least I do feel that sometimes we're able to see and read between the lines that someone wants something different, though the words they're speaking is telling us a completely different story. And then it's obviously very, very challenging to help them open up to live the way they truly want. So what we're trying to do is do either then seminar sessions, and that can be, well, ideally want to do the workshop so you can spend more time, because if you do, say, a normal, just a presentation for a couple of hours at a corporate, or if you do it publicly, you have an hour, maybe a couple of hours, you might inspire someone and motivate them, but that most likely won't last very long. They might love it for the moment, maybe for a few days. But if you want to see change and transformation, you need some time. Just looking at myself, who I am and who I have been. I mean, I've been shaped and formed over almost 40 years. It takes a little bit of time to change one's personality. And before I change my personality, I can't really change my personal reality. And that is sort of the path and the steps that we're trying to go through. And it can be done in so many different ways. You can start, and you can only start where you stand, but all our lives are obviously different, and we're in different situations in different parts of our lives. And my world, we need to look at all the different parts and knowing where we want to go. It's not only about one small part, because, I mean, we need our health, we need our finances, we maybe need our career and so forth. There's so many different aspects of life that we need to take into consideration. So it's sort of a bigger project, and depending on what we are focusing on, that's what we dive into.
So what would you say your mission is in life?
Helping others to live their lives on their terms. That's it. So if I can do that in any way, just by something simple, brilliant. It doesn't have to be something dramatic. It doesn't have to be glamorous or big, anything. So if I can serve someone so that they can live a little bit more along the lines how they want to live their lives, that is brilliant. And that is what I'm trying to do.
It's very simple, but not easy, and that's why it's important to find someone who's lived that and experienced life in a way that it might not be exactly the same way as even anybody out here in the imagination, but it's an experience and it's understanding the path and then putting together the systems to help people find that answer. So that's so powerful, and you expressed it so well. What was your wake-up call? What brought you to that point?
Oh, shit, I don't want to go there. Sorry. No. So my wake-up call really came out of desperation. So as you mentioned before, and as I quickly mentioned, I was in finance, and that was my thing. Ever since I was like 7 or 8 years old, money, finance, that was it. That was what I wanted to do. I loved maths and the stock market and everything about it. So that was my path. It was very clear, and that was the direction I was heading for 30 years. So I did that, and I was always very, very competitive. So when something was tough, I worked harder. When it got tougher, I worked harder. And most of the times that works until something hits you in the face. So my wake-up call, though I got a lot of calls along the way, the big one came in 2010 when I eventually, or finally, went to a doctor to do some tests, because my body was not functioning the way it was supposed to, or that it used to. And they basically told me that I had an autoimmune disease and that I would have to be on medication for the rest of my life. That was a wake-up call, and I knew something along those lines were coming, but I was stupid enough to just ignore it because, well, if I couldn't do it and other people could, then who am I? I used to be the one who always delivered and who always did. Yeah. And that was a big, big challenge to accept and to figure out a way to still make things work. And the easy thing is put your head in the sand and work harder until someone hits you in the head hard enough. And that was really what happened. And that was a big wake-up call, which meant I need to change and I need to figure out what is truly important, because the way I'm living is not really living. It's just helping me dying faster.
So where are you right now in that aspect of your life?
So, which is quite funny. So we met probably a dozen doctors. They all told me the same thing. You have this. We don't know what to do about it, but you can eat medication for the rest of your life to eliminate or limit the symptoms, which was not really good enough. So we changed lifestyles, we changed diets, we changed how we worked and what we did and how we spent our time. And surprise, miracle happens. I'm not on any kind of medications. And the doctors say, wonder how that happened, because you were supposed to eat this for the rest of your life. Anyway, I'm not going to go there, but we did change a lot of things. And that was really the big thing that made me think and spend a lot of time thinking and trying to listen to my heart instead of the little thing, the monkey mind that we have telling me sort of work, harder, and really paying attention to what was coming from the inside. And it took a lot of time before I could even hear my inner thoughts and my inner voice. It was just blocked by the little monkey mind who'd just been working all the time. And now life is completely different. It's on my terms. We do what we want. There is no boss to tell me this or that. I'm not living on someone else's terms. If I want to do something, I do. If I don't, maybe I still do it. Maybe I don't. That's the difference. And that's how I think we should all at least try to live our lives. We can't only do what we want and what we enjoy. Of course not. But at least there has to be some balance or harmony. And most of the things, we have a choice to either do or don't. The only question is if we have really the balls to make the calls and make that awkward or hard decision that initially looks hard, but most of the time, those are the decisions that takes us to the other side.
You know, it's very important to what you just said, in the fact that these wake-up calls come in sometimes in ways that we believe it might be the end of the world for us, or it might be something that we have to survive for the rest of our lives. But when we really look at the wake-up call and we really look inside ourselves and find who we're meant to be and step into that world, we bring our vibration up, and we actually change the chemistry of our body, and we change the way the hormones act. And a lot of these wake-up calls, if we make the changes that we need to make, go away. We move beyond cancer. We move beyond our autoimmune disease. And it's not something that I waited so long and I didn't listen to the earlier wake-up calls, and now my life's going to be over because of it. That's not the case. When you make that change, when you really start to find yourself and start to live from your purpose on your terms, as you say, now the door is open for you to find health again, to step into your own power, to empower yourself. So I appreciate you sharing the fact that in your life changes, you move beyond that wake-up call, and now you're living the life that you're meant to live. And that's very, very powerful.
I completely agree. And in particular, what you're saying, that, I mean, the way I was living and in sort of really the rat race and the single focus meant that obviously my body was still functioning, not at a proper 100% level, but that's the beauty of our bodies. They do everything to protect us, and we can still function sort of normally, whatever that means. But there might be a lot of other things going on in our body that is not functioning the way it should because of how we are treating it. And how we treat it, basically using our mind, is obviously extremely important. And there were a lot of negative thoughts, in a sense that I knew what I was doing to myself and my body, still kept on doing it, which is so stupid. So what I'm really hoping is that if there's anyone out there in the imagination listening, then pay attention to what your body is telling you, especially if you know that it's hurting you, basically, well, physically. And I obviously don't want anyone to get any kind of illnesses or anything like that. So pay attention to what your heart is telling you, what your mind is telling you, but not only the monkey mind.
Jakob, you also mentioned that there was some little wake-up calls along the way that you missed. Could you share some of them to help the imagination maybe catch some of the wake-up calls that they're having right now, and it might open their eyes a little bit earlier than finding, oh my goodness, there's medication for the rest of my life?
Yeah, I think, I mean, at least looking back, I should probably have had, there would have been loads of them, but the clear ones would obviously be my stress level. I mean, mentally, and the way I was operating and thinking, and the pressure I was putting on myself, and how I was stressing, and then treating people around me because I was so stressed. That was saying a lot about how I was feeling, both physically and mentally. And I knew it because I was pushing myself harder and harder because I was in a sales role. And obviously I knew this is not healthy. I can't receive 300 emails per day, sending 150 emails, having 8 meetings per day, getting out, drinking with clients till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, getting up at 6, starting my day at 7 in the morning, doing the same thing again, and expecting it to be okay, or expecting my body to be able to handle it day after day after day. It does not make any kind of sense. And when you're feeling your body being drained of energy, even though you haven't really done anything, and you're sleeping longer, and your weekends, you're feeling like tired, you haven't really even done anything, or you come home after work one day and it's like, well, it's 7:30 or whatever, 8 o'clock, and you're just dead exhausted, then something is wrong. And there were many days, but as long as I kept myself inside of that little wheel, I was just running, because I knew if I sort of took down the pace just a little bit, it was so obvious how I was feeling, and I just wanted to ignore it because, again, out of fear of, who am I then? If I can't handle this, I mean, there's a lot of pressure, but a lot of people is under a lot of pressure, and I'm putting this on myself, then who am I? I never give up. I always succeed. So if I quit, resign, or do something else, then my whole personality becomes a big question mark. And I didn't have an answer to that. So the simple answer was, head in the sand, keep working. And it was so stupid, but I have to live with the consequences. And now, looking back, hey, happy I did, but still wish I would have done something sooner, though the result would have been probably different than what it is today. So where I am now, I'm very happy.
Excellent, excellent. It was truly that your wake-up call was truly a miracle in your life. And speaking of miracles,
sure.
our definition of miracle is through an act of love, sharing your gifts and talents with the world so others can share theirs. Can you give us an example of how you're sharing the miracle of you with the world right now?
I probably wouldn't call it a miracle, though I'm obviously very happy about the person I am today, because I can be, and I am, true to myself and authentic to the people around me. And just being able to be myself is American to some extent, at least to me. And if there's anything that I can do based on my experiences and share with others so that they too can start living their lives on their terms in any way, just by taking a small step, maybe even today, to start that journey, then that is a miracle in itself. And also part of the miracle that I'm living, if I'm living in a miracle.
Tell us about one of your clients and how sharing you has helped them.
Oh, I should have read. I should have known you had we were going to ask that question. Then I could have read something that I received from a friend a little while back, who have been having sort of sessions with for quite a period of time. But he's obviously seen the transformation, and to some extent also been part of the transformation. So he's checking in, and we're checking in with each other, because he's coming sort of from the same place, and we share some of the experiences in terms of how we were living sort of in the rat race. You're in the box, you're behaving like everybody else, dressing the same way, going to the same place for vacation and so forth. But just having someone to discuss with who, as you said, have lived and experienced more or less the same thing, so they know where you're coming from, makes you obviously a lot more trustworthy than if you didn't have those experiences. So having those discussions together where he can just ask any kind of question that he wants, and he knows that he's getting a sincere answer based on experience, obviously makes it a lot easier to make different choices in life, so that he, in this case, doesn't have to take or get the same experiences or learning experiences that I had. And I do believe that that is the beauty of being able to share our experiences with the imagination.
And I want the imagination to really hear that. And you said it earlier when you said, it doesn't matter to you what somebody wants to do or what somebody wants to be. And so we are truly living our purpose in every single thing that we do. And the true transformation that we bring to the world is through our example and being who we are and giving others the opportunity to be who they are. So it doesn't matter. Many of you have heard the story of Pete the Postman, and Pete wanted to get out and teach the world how to live differently. And when he realized that he was changing lives just by being at their door every day and talking to them and caring about them, he stayed in his business of being a postman. That's really where he brought his purpose to the world, and he was setting an example. And that's what you just shared with us, Jakob, that in sharing your example, you made a difference in someone else's life. And that is so powerful for this group to understand that every single day, every single purpose, you are making a transformation in the world, and it's your decision on what transformation you're going to make by the example that you set. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. No, I completely agree with you. And just again, highlighting the fact that you said that if people want to live the life on their terms, obviously we need to listen to our minds, or ideally maybe our hearts, in terms of how do I want to live my life? Not my boss, not my friends or so-called friends or my colleagues or whatever. How do I want to live my life? Maybe I want to live in the middle of nowhere. Maybe I want to be in the city. It doesn't really matter. But I mean, if we are, well, more or less like the average of our 5 closest people, well, choose them with care. Otherwise, it is very tricky to step outside, and it takes more than if not. But if you never think the thought, you'll probably regret it for a very long period of time. And if we get one shot at life, and that's a good question to ask myself every now and then, if I have one shot at life, am I being true to myself? And can I look myself in the mirror, looking back, saying, I lived my life on my terms. I'm happy with my choices, made some stupid mistakes, but I learned from them. But most of the time, I gained a lot of experience and I was true to myself. Instead of looking back with frustration, anger, saying, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, I was just doing it to show off, or whatever it is. So when you meet someone, or at least personally, when I meet someone who loves what they're doing, that is amazing. It doesn't, if they work in the local supermarket, it doesn't matter. If they're happy, cheerful, have the spark in their eyes, brilliant. Then most likely they shouldn't be anywhere else. They are where they want to be. But most people seem to be somewhere else where they don't want to be, but they think that everybody else expects them to be there, and that's why they're there. So just think, and hopefully, if you're not on the right path, start taking some small steps, try something different. That would be my advice.
Oh, thank you. I believe in the power of collective energy, and the imagination is growing every single day. And the collective energy that comes together in this group can really help move things forward as we put our intentions all in the same direction. So if you could use this energy that's coming together from the imagination to launch something new, to move into the next step, maybe even something that nobody else has heard about yet, that you're going to share with the imagination for maybe the very first time, what can we put our energy behind to help you in the next step of your journey?
The best way to help me in a semi-egoistic way would be for you to help you. So it's not really about me. So if you can serve yourself, and ideally maybe serve someone else, sort of paying it forward. If we can all do that, if we can make a difference to ourselves and to someone else, then we can have a massive impact. And that would be my message. So if we can do something together in terms of serving others, being authentic and sincere about it, we will for sure get it back compounded, for sure. And if we do that, then I think all of us will benefit, myself included, and everyone else in the imagination. So do something for yourself, but also do something for someone else.
So bring your energy together some way, some shape, some form today, imagination, and share the love with someone around you, share you with someone around you, so the world can start through that process of transformation.
Absolutely, yes.
Awesome. We're really running out of time, and I would love to spend probably the next 4 or 5 hours chatting with you, Jakob, on what you have to share and all the things that we have in common and all the things that we'd like to do for the world. But we come to the end of a very short podcast here. Could you give us just a piece of parting guidance on something that would help people do what you just suggested, step out into the world and share themselves?
I had actually thought about something slightly different to that question, but to answer that specific question, I would say living with passion and living with purpose can be a challenge if you don't know what it is. So when people are talking about finding your passion, I'm more one of the person who would say maybe creating your passion. So spend some time in a quiet place and start listening to your heart in terms of what it is that you want. Then start taking some small steps in that direction. It can be in your spare time. It doesn't have to be work-wise or anything else, but just start doing something, taking you on that journey, creating a little bit of momentum. And when you start doing so, if that is the path you're supposed to go, you will gain more and more momentum. You will get more and more passionate about it, and the purpose will become clear. So that would be my sort of guidance on that topic. And when you do, I'm sure that you will serve people along the way as well.
It's kind of like a steam locomotive, right?
Yes.
Every journey
Absolutely.
starts with the first few motions, but when the passion starts to arise, you can see the destination out in the distance, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as the steam grows. So
exactly. But don't forget to enjoy the journey. That's the thing, right?
for sure, you got to hop on the Hogwarts Express, right? It's got to be to somewhere fun, and know that each and every part of your journey brings you joy if you just look for that joy and find the gratitude for each part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you've got such great insight and experience, and the example that you're setting in the world is huge. How can people get in touch with you?
The easiest way is either via Facebook then, or check out the website. It's called Action to Happy, Healthy, Wealthy. Sort of long, or very long, but hopefully rather easy to remember. So Action to Happy, Healthy, Wealthy. That is the purpose. And we need to take action. Otherwise, things won't happen for us. So it's one thing knowing or wanting, but you need to combine that knowledge and intention or imagination with action. And when you do, that's when you see the results. Excellent. And that's the easiest way. So if I can help any of you guys in imagination, reach out via the website, via Facebook, and I'm sure I'll see if I can answer whatever questions you might have. And I've been so honored to be here, Vince. Thank you so much. It's been great, though short, but absolutely brilliant.
Well, maybe we'll get a chance to get back together and kind of delve in a little bit deeper on some of these subjects. It's pretty important to get out into the world. So let's plan on that somewhere in the future.
Anytime, and if you're on your way to Sweden, let me know.
Certainly. And for all this information, I'll make sure that it's available on the show page for everyone so we can find Jakob fairly easily. And also, if you join the membership site, the podcast will be available, and that information will be available on the membership site also. Jakob, on behalf of my wife, Mary, who's my business partner, my partner in life, we want to wish you a miracle day.
Same to you.
Thank you.
You've completed this episode of The Miracle You, but we have plenty more to help you discover your own personal passion and purpose. Head over to themiracleyou.com for free resources to assist you on your journey, as well as register for our free webinar, Discover Your Miracle Life, 3 Mind Awakening Steps Toward Your Unique Purpose, or apply for a one-on-one Your Life, Your Way breakthrough session and discover your next best step on your journey. All available exclusively on our website. That's themiracleyou.com. We look forward to sharing more experiences of passion, purpose, and life by design next time, right here on The Miracle You.